Iran, a journey through history, culture, and power. Ancient and medieval history. Iran's history stretches back millennia. Early peoples like the Elamites and Medes gave way to the Achaemenid Empire, 550 to 330 BCE, founded by Cyrus the Great. Over time, Persians shaped Islamic culture. Iranian dynasties like the Safavids, 1501 to 1736, centralized Shi'a Islam as the state faith, unifying Iran as a modern nation-state. Notably, Shah Ismaili, 1501 to 1524, made 12er Shi'a Islam official. The Safavids built magnificent cities, e.g., Isfahan's Imam Square, and fostered Persian art, poetry, and architecture. The Achaemenids built monumental sites like Persepolis, the ceremonial capital, founded 518 BCE. The 1979 revolution ended the historic Iranian monarchy and replaced it with an Islamic Republic. This finalized Iran's transformation from an ancient empire to a modern state, and forged an empire from the Balkans to the industry. Persepolis is a UNESCO site symbolizing this era. After Alexander the Great's conquest, 330 BCE, Iran saw Parthian and Sasanian dynasties, which maintained a Persian imperial tradition until the 7th century Islamic conquests. With the 7th century Arab invasions, Islam transformed Iran. In the early 20th century, the Qajar dynasty, 1789 to 1925, saw increasing foreign influence, and the 1906 constitutional revolution. Reza Shah Pahlavi, 1925 to 1941, then modernized and secularized Iran, followed by his son Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, 1941 to 1979, under whom oil revenues fueled industrial growth but also social unrest. The Pahlavi era ended in the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile, the monarchy collapsed, and the Islamic Republic was proclaimed. The revolution's slogan, "Death to America, Death to Israel," marked a radical shift in Iran's identity. Key events since 1979 include the Iran-Iraq War, 1980 to 88, and internal political ebbs, reformist and hardline presidencies. Modern government and international relations. Today, Iran is an Islamic republic with a dual political structure. The supreme leader, currently Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is head of state and holds ultimate authority over politics, the military, and religion. Beneath him is an elected president, the head of government, and a unicameral parliament, Majlis. A 20-year strategic pact, signed in 2023, and military collaboration, e.g., Russian arms sales, aligned Tehran closer to Moscow. It backs Syria's Assad and Iraqi Shi'a parties and works diplomatically to counter the U.S. presence in the Gulf. Although ideologically anti-Western, Iran also negotiates, uneasily, with the world. Talks over its nuclear program continue even after the U.S. withdrawal from the 2015 JCPOA. In sum, Iran today is a theocratic republic with complex internal checks, supreme leader, guardian council, elected bodies, and an assertive foreign policy, allied with Russia and China and opposed to the U.S. and Israel. Chinese President Xi Jinping publicly affirmed support for Iran's national sovereignty amid Western sanctions in 2023. Iran provides a strategic link between Eurasia and the Middle East. It hosts Chinese-backed infrastructure, energy corridors under the Belt and Road, and helps Russia circumvent sanctions. Nevertheless, both powers have been cautious. Neither intervened militarily when Israel struck Iran in 2025. However, unelected bodies wield great power. The 12-member Guardian Council consists of 6 clerics appointed by the supreme leader and 6 jurists chosen by the judiciary, itself led by a supreme leader appointee and approved by parliament. The Guardian Council can veto parliamentary bills and must approve all electoral candidates. Another body, the Assembly of Experts, clerics elected by public vote, can appoint or remove the supreme leader. In practice, power is heavily concentrated in the supreme leader and IRGC-aligned institutions. Iran's foreign relations are shaped by revolutionary ideology and regional ambitions. The regime often casts the U.S. as the Great Satan and Israel as the Little Satan. It opposes Israel's existence and supports proxies like Hezbollah, Lebanon, the Houthis, Yemen, and various Shi'a militias in Iraq and Syria, forming an axis of resistance against Israel and U.S. allies. In 2024 to 2025, tensions spiked. For example, the IRGC launched hundreds of drones and missiles at Israel in April 2024, Iran's first direct attack on Israeli soil. In June 2025, U.S. and Israeli strikes hit Iranian sites, including nuclear and missile facilities, reflecting a U.S.-Israel campaign to curtail Iran's regional reach. At the same time, Iran has deepened ties with Russia and China. Regionally, Iran competes with Sunni Saudi Arabia for influence. Military and security forces. Iran has a large, multifaceted military. The official army and navy exist, but the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, founded in 1979, is especially powerful. Created to defend the revolution, the IRGC has evolved into a state within a state. Starting in the 1950s, Iran developed civilian nuclear technology. Domestically, the IRGC is deeply entrenched. Internationally, Iran leverages its rockets, drones, and networks to project power. As a CFR analyst notes, successive Iranian presidents, Rafsanjani through Raisi, have not challenged the IRGC Khamenei axis, which remains dominant. This ensures Iran's military strategy, centered on resistance through missile deterrence and proxies, continues unabated. After 2000, Iran accelerated enrichment programs, raising global alarm. The 2015 deal, JCPOA, temporarily froze its capability, but after the U.S. pulled out in 2018, Iran expanded enrichment again, drawing sanctions. In mid-2025, Israel and the U.S. reportedly struck Iranian nuclear-related facilities. Iran insists its program is peaceful, though it claims the right to nuclear technology. It controls elite ground forces, the Quds Force, its overseas operations unit, the Basij militia, and even economic assets. The IRGC operates Iran's ballistic missile program and drone program. Under the IRGC's watch, Iran has amassed diverse missiles, short, medium, and long-range ballistic missiles, and launch satellites. Iran's strategy emphasizes asymmetrical warfare. In addition to conventional missiles, it sponsors proxies across the region. The IRGC Quds Force trains and equips groups like Hezbollah, Lebanon, Shi'a militias in Iraq and Syria, the Houthis in Yemen, and Palestinian fighters. In 2024, amid the Israel-Hamas war, the IRGC reportedly provided arms to its allies, Lebanon's Hezbollah, Yemen's Houthis, and Iraq's militias, to strike Israeli targets. Iran's nuclear program also figures into security. In sum, Iran's military posture mixes conventional forces with a powerful IRGC-driven asymmetric strategy. Economy and industries. Iran's economy is state-dominated and hydrocarbon-driven. It holds about 10% of the world's proven oil reserves and 15% of gas, making it an energy superpower. Oil and gas have historically provided most export revenue and government income. Iran is a founding OPEC member. Its massive South Pars gas field, shared with Qatar, is the world's largest gas field. Inflation and unemployment are high. Many Iranians work overseas or in tech startups. Notably, a growing tech sector, AI, fintech, and e-commerce, is emerging despite isolation, as seen in homegrown platforms for communication, ride-sharing, and even a cryptocurrency bank. However, sanctions have crippled the sector at times. After the 2015 nuclear agreement, some sanctions were lifted, briefly boosting oil exports and even tourism. But the U.S. withdrawal in 2018 and subsequent sanctions have dramatically cut Iranian oil exports. In 2025, strikes on pipelines caused crude exports to plunge. China and its neighbors remain key partners. Iran exports oil, when possible, to Asia and buys consumer goods from Turkey, the UAE, and elsewhere. Agriculture employs 25% of the workforce. Key exports include carpets, saffron, pistachios, and hand-woven rugs. A 2015 World Bank report notes the economy was characterized by the hydrocarbon sector, agriculture, services, and manufacturing. China remains Iran's largest oil buyer under sanctions, and pipelines to neighboring countries, like Pakistan and Turkey, help export gas. Beyond energy, Iran has diverse industries. In 2022, its parliament described the goals of progress in science and technology. Auto manufacturing for domestic models, petrochemicals, metals, steel, copper, and agriculture. Nuts, fruits, pistachios are significant. Large religious foundations, bonyads, control 30% of government spending. Sanctions and economic mismanagement have kept growth modest. Trade is a mix of sanctioned and domestic markets. Key industries: oil and gas, petrochemicals, automobile production, steel and mining, and increasingly software and digital services. Despite constraints, Iran has educated workers and a tradition of engineering excellence, fueling ambitions in defense and space technology as well. However, sanctions, especially from the US, continue to be a major drag on growth. Society, religion, and culture. Iran is a majority Shi'a Muslim country. About 90+% follow 12-er Shi'ism, instituted as the state religion by the Safavids. A Sunni minority, mostly Kurds, Turks, and Arabs, makes up roughly 7 to 8%. Religion permeates public life. Friday prayers, religious holidays like Ashura, and the Hajj to Mecca are central to many Iranians. But Iran is also ethnically diverse. About 61% identify as Persian. Azerbaijanis make up 16%, Kurds 10%, and Laz 6%, with smaller Baloch, Arabs, Turkmen, and others. Its emphasis on family, poetry, and history is balanced by a modernizing urban middle class. This vibrant culture grabs attention from all over the globe, even as Iran's politics dominate headlines. Persian, Farsi, is the official language, but Azeri Turkish, Kurdish, Arabic, and others are widely spoken in the regions. Large urban centers, Tehran, Tabriz, Mashhad, are multi-ethnic and often bilingual. Iranian culture is rich and ancient. Nowruz, the Persian New Year, exemplifies Iran's cultural continuity. Celebrated at the spring equinox, it dates back over 2,500 years and remains Iran's major holiday. Families gather for half-seen tables of symbolic items, and many travel to historical sites. UNESCO notes that ancient imperial festivities and the spirit of renewal in the Persian Empire still echo in modern Nowruz celebrations. Other traditions include Marigan, Autumn Festival, Yalda, Winter Solstice, and national sports like wrestling. Religious festivals also mark the calendar. Shi'a major holidays like Ashura, mourning Hussein's martyrdom, and Eid al-Fitr Kurban see national observance. Iran's clergy wield influence in society, but there is also a vibrant youth culture, pop music scene, albeit regulated, and a film industry acclaimed at international festivals. In sum, Iranian society blends ancient Persian traditions, language, holidays, poetry, with Islamic culture, geography, landmarks, and travel. Iran's landscape is vast and varied. In the north, the Alborz Mountains run along the Caspian coast. Here soars Mount Damavand, 5,609 meters, the highest peak in the Middle East. Iran has the world's third highest volcano age. Damavand is an iconic dormant stratovolcano. Westward lie the Zagros Mountains. Central Iran has broad plateaus and rivers. The Kavr, Salt, and Lut deserts in the interior are starkly beautiful. For example, the Lut Desert is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, inscribed in 2016, noted for its record-high ground temperatures and unique salt formations. It exemplifies Iran's dramatic terrain, from emerald forests in the north to red deserts in the south. For travelers, Iran offers UNESCO-listed treasures and vibrant cities. Tehran, the sprawling capital, sits on a high plain below the Alborz. Before 2018, millions of visitors came for Nowruz holidays and cultural tours. Despite political tensions and sanctions, Iran recently saw tourist counts rebound. In Nowruz 2023 alone, over 260,000 people visited Persepolis. After rare rains, even water collects in crater lakes, a striking sight in this arid region. With nearly 10 million people, Tehran blends ancient sites, Golestan Palace, Niavaran Estates, with new architecture, Milad Tower, Azadi Tower. Tourists enjoy hiking in the Alborz or Zagros. The currency is the rial, and major cities have international airports, Tehran's Imam Khomeini, and railway links. With UNESCO heritage, Persepolis, Nakshi Jahan, Golestan Palace, Bam Citadel, etc., and natural parks, Caspian forests, lakes of Mazandaran, Khalits of Lut, Iran is a crossroads of history and geography. Its road not taken status often surprises tourists with unexpected hospitality and beauty. Desert camping in Dasht-e-Kavr, skiing near Tehran, and cruising the Caspian Sea. Iran's cuisine, bazaars, and handicrafts add to its appeal. Modernization has brought better hotels and connectivity, though visa restrictions remain. It has 9.8 million residents, making it Iran's largest city. Landmarks include Azadi Tower, the Golestan Palace, Qajar-era UNESCO site, and modern skyscrapers. To the south is Isfahan, famed for Naqsh-e-Jahan, Imam Square, 1600 AD, a UNESCO heritage site surrounded by Safavid mosques and palaces. Other cities, Shiraz, near Persepolis, with famed gardens and poetry tombs, Yazd, desert oasis city with ancient earthen architecture, Mashhad, religious pilgrimage site, and Tabriz, historic Silk Road city. Tourism potential, Iran's cultural depth and landscapes are immense attractions. Iran's northern landscapes, the Alborz Mountains and Mount Damavand, 5,609 meters, a volcanic peak, overlook Tehran. These snow-capped ranges contrast with Iran's central deserts. Dasht-Lut, a UNESCO site in the southeast, has some of the hottest land on Earth, especially with those temporary rainwater pools. The deserts of Iran, like the Lut, feature surreal salt beds and dunes. Tehran's modern skyline at dawn, with the Alborz behind, symbolizes contemporary Iran. Travel note: visitors should be mindful of local laws, e.g., dress codes, cultural norms, but you will find out that Iranians are generally hospitable. Final reflection: Iran is not just a country, it is a civilization that never paused, only transformed. From the grandeur of Achaemenid palaces to the poetry of Hafez, from the battlefields of revolution to the screens of tech startups, Iran lives at the crossroads of time, ideology, and ambition. It is a nation where myth and memory are political forces, where art is resistance, and where modernity collides with centuries of tradition. Every empire that passed through this land, from Greeks to Mongols, left a mark. But Persia never disappeared. It simply adapted. It became Islamic, then revolutionary. It became isolated, yet influential. It became Iran. And like its mountains and deserts, its contradictions are vast and still unfolding. Will it emerge as a bridge or a barrier between East and West? Will its youth rewrite its future, or will its theocracy tighten its past? The world watches, as it always has. Because when Iran speaks, history listens. The Atlas Vault, unlocking the world, one nation at a time. Subscribe to explore the stories empires leave behind and the futures they shape.